experienced a boom in the late 90s that carried the sport into the new millennium.
We lived high on the horse there for a while. Everything was going good. Everything was growing.
Fans were filling the stands, causing racetracks to add more seats. Charlotte Motor Speedway added 26,000 seats in 1997. The track followed that up by adding another 11,000 seats in 1998.
The demand was there, so they kept trying to fill, so they finally overfilled.
Today, those seats are being removed.
It could become a case study in how to kill the sporting golden goose, because it wasn't that long ago, as you just saw, NASCAR was strutting large, calling itself the fifth American major league team sport, commanding fat checks with lots of zeros from broadcast networks and sponsors, even daring to call themselves competition to the NFL for fan loyalty and dollars. But the stock car racing giant has found what happens when hit with a massive dose of hubris and ego. TV ratings are way off, sponsor dollars way down, and those once sought-after aerial shots of racetracks are suspiciously missing from recent broadcasts because they're showing far too many empty seats. When business collides with sports, we call the expert, the man who invented the concept of talking and analyzing sports business. Welcome back to Sports Professor Rick Horrow. All right, Professor, you and I got to talk some big-time money here because NASCAR was swimming in cash not too long ago. Their TV ratings in all but one track are down 30% in 2015, and they're only back up 4% this year. As we just saw, seats are being removed. Is this not a great example, though, of a sports league that just got too big for its britches and felt like they couldn't fail because they had so much cash?
Well, it's a great example of a sport that continues to evolve, meaning in every sport, we've always seen some overbuilding. FedEx Field, 90,000 seats pared back. Doesn't mean the sport's in any danger. It means they're trying to find the right place for the right fans. If International Speedway Corp., which is the public company that owns a lot of these tracks, didn't believe in the big investment, they wouldn't have spent $450 million on the new project called Daytona Rising. I've been in there. It is magnificent. It is pared down as far as the number of seats. But what it does do, increases corporate suites, increases luxury areas. So now they've got to find a different kind of public, not just the old line race fan, but the corporate entertainment, the sponsorship deals. And it's not just television, it's sponsorship activation. So just like every other sport, NASCAR is finding new niches.
But when you say they've got to find a new kind of fan, you're right there, because when NASCAR started its exponential growth, everybody was saying, well, you're trying to take the redneck out of the sport. And quite frankly, let's be honest, that's what NASCAR was based on, that Southern fan for so many years. But a lot of their drivers come from other places. They tried to go north. They tried to get away from that feel. And people feel they sort of got away from their roots here. Did they make a key mistake in going too fast after that high-dollar demo?
Well, I hope not, because I was hired years ago to help, as you would call it, focus away from the redneck by taking the sport to a little bit more of a national series of venues. So the Kansas Speedway opened, the Chicago Speedway, Vegas, Dallas. It's not just southern roots, and I think if we look at how the sport has grown in those areas, it's certainly a victory for the sport. California and television needs that too, because for a television sport, you can't just have a footprint that's only the Southeast. So you could quibble with whether it's 65,000 feet or 62,000 feet, but they fundamentally made the right move to try to go national and in some cases even international, Canada and Mexico.
Well, we can talk all we want about this, but still at the end of the day, we have to come back to the sponsors, because this is a unique sport here. Everything is based on having Ford, Chevy, all the different sponsors plastered across hats. I mean, jerseys, uniforms, cars, whatever it is. And you and I both know that with the TV ratings, when they start going down, you can go after all the corporate sponsors you want, but you got to deliver eyeballs there. The National Football League does that every day. If NASCAR doesn't start picking up the eyeballs again, people are going to come back saying, you guys blew it. You went too fast and your ego got too big.
I think there's a really important pressure point right now to make sure that NASCAR remains television friendly. Talk to NBC and Fox, who get the second half and first half of the race year respectively, and they are bullish on how NASCAR is attempting to appeal to the fan. The high technology television is great. The 3 series, the Truck Series, and the second series are also great. The facilities at NASCAR to try to get concerts and a whole bunch of weekly activities, so it's not just one person coming into one race, is great. Now, you got to put it all together, and you got to make sure that the the ratings drop, which you've seen, and it's happening in a lot of sports, almost every sport except football. It's the couching. People are liking the experience so much on their couches, that it's harder to get up off the couch and go to the race. Well, that's the same for basketball, same for hockey, same for other sports as well. And it's an issue that affects all sports, not just NASCAR.
I only got about 60 seconds left. Isn't it still fair to say, though, that they once said that they were going to go after the African-American viewer? They wanted to go after the Hispanic viewer. They wanted to go after a different, other than just the white guy sitting there drinking beer, and they failed. Because, quite frankly, those people still don't show up to races, and the advertisers, they treasure those. They want that sort of diversity.
Well, yeah, but when you take a look at the television ratings, they're not nearly where they should be. Don't misunderstand. But there is an increase in African-American viewership and Hispanic viewership, and tracks like California are trying very hard to appeal to those audiences. So is it complete in the rest of their laurels? Of course not. But they are moving in the right direction.
They did kind of go a little bit far when they tried to talk about themselves years ago about being a challenger to the NFL, didn't they?
Well, you know, a lot of sports want to aspire to that. When you look at basketball, Adam Silver says he wants to take chances in the NFL. But I think everybody knows that the NFL, you know, take a look at it now. I know we're running out of time. But everybody's talking about the draft now, and the NFL releases the schedule to amazing fanfare last Thursday. Other sports release the schedule, you can hear the crickets.
The NFL is the 12-month sport in America. There's no doubt about it. By the way, please be careful on the roads because I know what a terrible driver you are.
I'm an awful driver. Thank you very much.
We do know that. Professor Rick Horrow, thanks a lot for joining us, partner. Talk to you soon. Hey, what happens when the chickens will not come home to roost for fear of being assigned to dinner tables? We'll make a little example of all that and more when we continue right here on The Hardline.